is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you're doing well. For today's video, I'm finally gonna talk about my birth story. Before we get into the video, I just want to reply to some questions that I got on my Instagram because lately I have been way more active on my Instagram. If you want to see what's going on in my daily basis, just go to my Instagram because I'm way more active there. So a question that I got a lot was, on a scale 1 to 10, how was the pain of the birth? And I definitely can tell that it was a strong 10. I never felt anything that painful in my entire life. The contractions are very painful. How long you were in labor for? Kisses for the little princess. Kisses for you, Jessica. I hope your pregnancy is going well. My water broke around 8:30. We're gonna talk about that soon when I tell you my birth story, but my water broke around 8:30 and then she was born at 11:25, so I would say that I was in labor for around 4 hours, but I was pushing for like 5 minutes, not even, so it was amazing. A question that I got a lot was, did you take a epidural injection? And no, I didn't. Another question that I got a lot was, did you have a midwife? No, I didn't have a midwife. Any tips for pushing? I'm due in a few weeks and not sure if I'll be able to do it hard enough. You will be able. Don't worry, just relax. That's my best tip, is to not stress out and just relax. Just follow what they say. They're gonna tell you to breathe and to push. Just focus on that moment. Think that everything will be fine, that I'm sure it will. That's all the questions that I got, and now let's move on to my birth story. Before I tell you my birth story, I just want to mention that my baby's name is Alice Macedo. I haven't been, very active here on YouTube, so I didn't even have time to tell you my baby's name, but I'm sure that if you follow me on Instagram, you know that her name is Alice. So Alice was born on the 8th of January at 11:25 p.m. but actually everything started on the 7th of January. So on the 7th of January, I remember waking up feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and throughout the whole entire day I was having mild contractions and they weren't painful at all. Then on the 7th of January at night, Kevin and I were watching a show and I couldn't focus because the contractions were getting a little bit more painful, and I remember that night from the 7 to the 8 I barely slept. I was always in the washroom, I was always uncomfortable, I was having these cramps. I knew that they were contractions, but I never thought that the baby was gonna come the next day, you know what I mean? I had such a bad night from the 7 to the 8. I barely could sleep, I always wanted to pee, I was always uncomfortable, and then I remember waking up around 6 a.m. and I couldn't sleep because I was having these contractions. So that was already in the 8th of January. That morning I was awake from 6 until 8, 9 with pain, and then I fell asleep, and I think I just woke up around 1 p.m. which is crazy. I really needed to sleep because I haven't slept the whole entire night. Like I was saying, I was always in the washroom. I woke up and I still had these cramps and these contractions, so I went to the bathtub. I was there for like 1 hour. It just felt so good, and actually being in the bathtub, it made me feel more comfortable. I was just comfortable, and when I got out of the bathtub I was feeling fine, and for a long period of time after I got out of the bathtub I didn't have any contractions until 3. At 3 p.m. My contractions started again, and they were like 1 hour apart from each other, and then they started getting closer. So from 3 until 4 they were 1 hour apart from each other, and then from 4 until 5 they started getting closer in time. So instead of being 1 hour apart from each other, they would be 45 and 45 minutes. I would feel these contractions, and the more contractions I was having, the more pain I was feeling. And I remember even filming a video for Instagram because I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be my last video or my last time seeing my belly, because at that time I was already feeling different. I was noticing that my belly was very low, so I could tell that, she was down there. Actually in that video I was a little bit in pain, even though you cannot tell. So after that video, Kevin got home. I told him I'm feeling contractions. It was around dinner time, around 7. I wasn't hungry at all, but Kevin was like, you need to eat stuff. So he made dinner for me. He made some fish with rice and veggies. It was delicious, but I remember that I really struggled. I couldn't eat. So I had my dinner around 7:30, and then I was just talking with Kevin. We were chilling, and then I got out of the table and I was walking going to the washroom and my water broke. I didn't even knew that it was my water, but I felt something very different. And then I look at the floor and I saw a little bit of water, and I was like, maybe this is my water. So I called Kevin right away and he went to the washroom with me, and when I was peeing it came out a bunch of blood, and I started getting worried, you know, and I was like, maybe I should go to the hospital. After my water broke, the pain of the contractions started like increasing, and the contractions started getting closer and closer in time. So I started counting them. I have an app called Contractions, so it was helping me counting my contractions, how long they were apart from each other, and how long they were lasting. So what did? I went again to the bathtub, because water therapy is the best, and I just feel so relaxed in the bathtub. And I actually read so many books and articles saying that one of the best things that you can do when you get into labor is to go to the bathtub, because you will feel way more relaxed there. And that's what happened to me. I went to the bathtub and I started feeling better, but then as time was passing I started feeling the pain coming back again, and this time the contractions were like 5 minutes apart from each other. So I think I was in the bathtub for like 2 hours. I was there until I couldn't handle the pain anymore. Basically, while I was in the bathtub, you know, having those contractions, I started throwing up because I just had my dinner. Thank God Kevin was beside me and he gave me a plastic bag, so I threw up in there. So I was just there in the bathtub trying to relax and throwing up at the same time. It was a mess. Right now I look back and I just want to laugh. Again, I was in the bathtub until I couldn't handle the pain anymore, and then I got out of the bathtub and I came to my bed. At that time, I told Kevin to tell my mom that I needed to go to the hospital. I actually had another friend that lived super close to me, Raquel, and she told me that if anything happens, just call me, that I will go with you to the hospital, because Kevin and I, we bike every day, we don't have a car, so we definitely needed some help to get to the hospital. So my mom came over and she helped me a lot, but I really appreciate knowing that Raquel would be there for me if I needed her to, because she just lives so close, as I was saying. Anyway, when my mom arrived, I was in bed in so much pain and Kevin was massaging my back. It actually helped me a lot. So I was just laying in my side. I read that if you're in your side, you don't feel the pain as much, and I kind of felt more comfortable in my side, but I was still feeling a lot of pain. So yeah, while I was in bed laying on my side, Kevin was massaging my lower back, pressing it hard. If you have your man close to you while you're, you know, getting into labor, have him massaging your back, because that's gonna help you a lot. It took a little bit of pressure, you know, out of me. At this point, when I was in bed, I felt like I couldn't get up to go to the hospital, you know. I felt like I couldn't get to the car because I was in so much pain, and I felt like I needed to poop. It just felt like something was stuck in my anus and I couldn't get it out, but it was the head of the baby. When you get into labor and when you're about to have your baby, you will definitely think that you need to poop, but you don't. So yeah, my mom got here. I felt like I couldn't get up, but she was like, come on Steph, we gotta go to the hospital. At this point it was already 10-ish, so I knew that I had to get up to go to the hospital. So I was like thinking for myself, Steph, come on, you can do this. Even though I always wanted a natural birth, I was in so much pain that I was already thinking about the epidural. And I was even telling Kevin and my mom, I think I'm gonna ask for the epidural at the hospital. I don't know how people get pregnant more than one time. How come anyone wants to have the second kid? This hurts so much. I was just a mess and in so much pain, but I got up. Kevin, my mom, and my sister also came with my mom. She was very supportive. They were all here helping me out, and they all helped me going into the car. So as soon as I got up, I had a contraction, but standing up, your contractions don't feel as painful as when you're laying down. So when you're having contractions, the best thing to do is definitely going to the bathtub and just standing up. Don't lay down. So when I was having these contractions while I was walking to the car, I was actually not feeling the same pain that I was feeling while I was in bed. So I felt like, okay, I can do this. And we got to the car and I realized that I had forgotten my pillow. So Kevin had to come back to the apartment and he had to pick up the pillow, and there we went to the hospital. Thank God I only lived like like 5 minutes away. When I got there, I told the nurse that I think my baby is gonna come out soon, and she took me right away to a room and she checked how many centimeters I was dilated. And at this point I was super nervous. I could tell that Kevin was nervous too, but he was trying to relax and, you know, be there for me. So the nurse checked my cervix and she was like, you're 9.5 centimeters dilated. Oh my god, this baby is gonna come out soon. I don't even know how you were walking. And when she said that, I was just like, oh my god, thinking for myself, now I can do this without epidural because I'm just so close. So I was feeling super happy at that point. And then they took me to another room right away. I needed to change rooms because they were gonna put me in the room that I was gonna have my baby already. When I got there, there was already a bunch of nurses and the doctor, and they were all very relaxed. And I was like kind of nervous, you know, because I was in so much pain and feeling like these strong contractions. So they put me in a bed right away. The nurse and the doctors were just chatting with each other, and I was kind of thinking for myself like, hello, I need help. And when I was thinking that, the doctor asked me, do you feel the urge to push? And I was like, yes, I feel the urge to push. And she checked down there and she was like, oh my god, I can see the head, this baby is gonna come out so soon. And they all start getting ready, you know. At this point it was just Kevin and I in the room. I wanted to keep this just between me and Kevin because it's just such a special moment, and I felt like the more people I would have in the room, the more nervous I would get. So while Kevin was there, my mom and my sister were waiting in the waiting room. The baby came out so fast, so I got into the labor room around 11 and the baby came out at 11:25. Trust me, when I saw my baby I couldn't believe how fast everything happened. Yeah, they checked and they saw that the baby, the head was there, and they were like, okay, we're gonna get into labor now. So they started getting everything ready, and everything happened so fast, seriously. Like, I look back and I don't even remember certain things. So they were like, you're gonna follow what we tell you, okay, Steph? And I was like, okay, very nervous. They told me to open my legs, so I did. And they were like, you're gonna push when we tell you to push, okay? And they were like, push. And I was like, oh, pushing. They were like, now stop, breathe, breathe. And I was breathing. They were like, push. So I pushed and they were like, oh my god, the baby is gonna come out now. Just stay calm, stay calm. And they were like, push again. And I pushed and the baby came out. On the third push, they were like super impressed. I was amazed. Yeah, it was just super fast and I felt so happy. I don't have words to explain how I felt in that moment. So they passed me the baby right away and it was just an amazing feeling. I was so happy. I wanted to film my labor and everything, but when everything was happening, you actually just feel like living in the moment and not filming it. But I'm glad that we got a clip of me holding my baby for the first time.
Missing Elise. Sweetie, smile.
And it's an incredible feeling. And as soon as I grabbed her, she wanted to be fed right away. So I put her in my breast, and since that day, since the moment that she was born, that she has the perfect latch. So I'm very thankful for that, because I know that a lot of moms out there struggle with breastfeeding. The nurses and the doctor were like, wow, this was amazing, and she's even already eating. Like, you're so lucky, Steph. And I remember they even asked me if I had a high pain tolerance. They said that they never had seen something like that before, because I didn't want any epidural or gauze. They had to give me 3 stitches because I teared a little bit, and they were like, do you want any gauze? And I was just like, no. After going through all of that pain, a few stitches down there, it's nothing, you know. So they gave me the stitches, but before that they had to take my placenta out. They struggled a little bit taking my placenta out, so I was just holding my baby. You're gonna notice in the footage that I'm doing some weird faces, and it's because in that moment that I was holding my baby, they were taking my placenta out at the same time. They had a hard time trying to find my placenta, so the nurse was just there, you know, trying to find the placenta to push it out, and she couldn't find it, you know, and she was telling the doctor, oh, I need your help. The doctor just put the hand, you know, inside of my vagina, and as soon as she put it, I felt her pushing something, and that was my placenta. And when I saw my placenta coming out, first of all, I felt such a huge relief. I felt like I had lost 10 pounds already. And second of all, I never expected your placenta to look like that. I don't want to, you know, say this, but it's kind of disgusting when you see your placenta coming out, because it just comes with blood attached, and it looks like a big piece of meat in my opinion. The doctor and the nurses told me, oh, we might save your placenta because you had such a great labor and a great pregnancy that we want to test your placenta out. And I was so impressed. And then they were just chatting with me, asking me how many times a week that I worked out and things like that. I felt very supportive. They were all amazing there at the hospital, the nurses and the doctor. The doctor that was there in my birth was Dr. Pinava. So if you live in London, Ontario, definitely ask for Dr. Pinava. I always heard these stories, especially here on YouTube. There's so many story times about births and stuff. Everyone tells you their traumatizing birth story, and I thought that I was gonna have like a really hard birth, and I thought that I was gonna be pushing for hours, because that's what you see and that's what they tell you in these stories, is that I was pushing for hours. It was very hard. So I definitely felt like my birth was gonna be very hard, but it was way easier than I thought. Yes, the pain is very hard to tolerate, but once you have your baby, you look back and you feel like going through that over again. Once you have your baby in your arms, you forget about the pain that you went through. It's an amazing feeling. I cannot even explain it. Hopefully my story will inspire you. Hopefully it will remind you that not every birth is long. Yes, it will be hard. Popping a child out of your vagina, obviously it's gonna be hard. So just believe in yourself, keep yourself calm, and everything will be fine. I was so anxious getting closer to my due date just because of all these stories that I've heard. There was no reason for me to be that anxious or for me, you know, to be that stressed out like I was getting closer to my due date, because everything went all right. Thank you so much for watching. Right now I've been struggling a little bit. I'm getting used to this mom life, so I'm gonna try my best to upload a video at least once a week. Don't forget to share my story with someone else. I would love to see you in my next video, so definitely subscribe. Bye.